Hey everyone, Jeri Bellini here. Welcome to the little house. I had to think about where I am. The little house in Pennsylvania. Today's video is going to be on, button garland. Isn't it cute? Look at all these buttons. It is so fun. And I'll talk more about the garland in the video, but I did want to pop on and say hi before we get started, and also tell you that I'm probably going to make at least one more video, to kind of close out the year and tell you what I've been doing. Brian and I have been really busy the last couple of weeks, but I also wanted to show you this cute little Christmas book, and it's got a little Santa bell on the side, and I'll save that for the which I'll probably do this week. So I kind of sidebarred during the video and started talking about my Advent garland. So that's after I show you how to make the button garland. So hang out for that, because I have a few little things that I want to tell you about making hearts. All right, let's get started. Okay, I've been playing with button garland because I wanted to find a few things to do with all these buttons. We have a ton of buttons. We sell them in our Etsy shop. They are not small. They're about 3/4 of an inch to a little over an inch. And here's a variety of them right here. So we have so many of them. Brian's been like, can you try to come up with some ideas for these buttons? So I was messing around on Pinterest and I came across button garland. And I thought, oh, that sounds like fun. So people put it on their Christmas trees. They put it on some greenery on their fireplace. Sometimes they just hang them in a doorway. All sorts of things are done with button garland. So I did look to see if I could find some kind of instructions on how to make them, and I could not. The only thing I could find was a very simple, I'll show you what I could find, a very simple method of doing them, which was go up this way, go down, and then go into the next button, go up, and go down. That's what I could find on the internet. And they flop around too much for me. It made me a little crazy. So I said, there's got to be a better way. So I was sitting on the couch the last couple of nights, just fooling around with tying them together, and came up with this. There's almost like a little knot in between each one, and so they move, but they don't flop around like what I just showed you. So I was happy with this method. I'm happy with this method so far. I'm working on what to do with the knots, but we'll get to that in a second. So let me just push this out of the way and talk to you about the thread that I experimented with. So this is some kind of a bead cord, and it's great. It worked really great. I felt it was just like a hair too thin. So I upgraded to some twine, and this was really nice and gave it a more primitive look, you might say. But it started shredding on me, and I was afraid it was going to just totally rip. So then I came across, I'm cleaning my my warehouse, the basement, and came across this ball of hemp. And I used to have a bead, I had a bead store, a lot of you know that, but I had a yarn department in the bead store, and so we used to crochet washcloths and stuff with this. And so I thought, oh, let me try this. So that's what I've been working with, is this. But I think another really good option would be wax linen. I think wax linen would be really nice. And I have this this bead cord, which is very similar to this, only it's thicker. It's called Ceylon cord. I used to sell it in the store. Now it's in my art room. And it's nice. I like it. So just use what you have. See if you can find something that would work, and you might have to experiment a little. So I just cut a very short piece of this hemp yarn, twine, just so I could show you on the camera. I'm going to start by putting a double knot in the end. Now, you can leave a long end and you can make a tassel or something with it before you get started. But just for this video, I'm just going to use the knot. And from what I gathered when I was trying to research to find directions, which I was not very good at, people were starting with a piece 10 foot long. So let's go with the 10 foot. That's what I started with. Well, I tried to start with something really, really long, and that was just unbelievable. So here's my bucket of buttons. This is the assortment, which I just told you about, and I'll leave a link below in the description. And I think I'm just going to grab a couple of off-white ones. So we have, I think Brian made a couple of listings where they're just off-white, so then they're mostly like these. And then he's got like where it's a mix, and then he's got where it's just all dark ones like these, if you're interested. All right. So I got a knot on the end of the thread, and a must, if you're using some kind of twine, is to have something to create a stiffish end, because I doubt you're going to be able to get this through a needle and then get it through the buttons. So these buttons are bigger, so obviously they have bigger holes. But if you try to use teeny tiny buttons, you know, like shirt buttons and stuff, you're going to have to use a much thinner thread. All right, so let's hope I got enough wax on there. So you're going to go from the bottom of the button up, and your knot is back there, okay? Now, we'll put the buttons side by side so you can see. It doesn't matter if they have 4 holes or 2 holes. We're only going to use 2 of the holes. So the first thing you're going to do is finish going down the second hole, right, with the first button. And now you're coming out from underneath the button. Now you're going to go underneath the second button. You might have to watch this a few times. Okay. And now I'm going to go back down. And I like to pick it up and hold the thread out of the way so I can get back down into that hole easily. Now I'm going to lay it back down in a second. Hold on. Because I want you to see what it's doing. So you see what I did? I came up and down, so it's like going around, and here it is right there. Let me make sure you can see it. Okay. Now, what I was liking to do was pull it. You can pull it so that it's right next to one another, or you can leave a little tiny bit of space in between. I wound up liking it best if it had just a teeny tiny space in between, but you know, close enough, right? So now the thread's coming up from the back, and here's how I hold it. I'm right-handed. Okay. Now I've got the 2 buttons together. I'm going to pull my thread from the back up over my thumb and around to the back. And now I'm going to go, I want to put the thread under here. Okay. So you can grab the end and go under, or I started getting lazy and just started to stick it under, and I'll show you on the next one. So as you start to pull it down, don't pull it towards you, pull it towards the back. All right, now I'm going to turn it over. It's going to be loose. Now you want to just tighten it down. Okay, so you can see you have 2 strings there, and that's not really a knot, but it's a little bit of a something holding it. Now, I'm going to go back from the back. So do you see what I just did? So now I have 2 strings on this side and 2 strings on this side. Let's flip it over. See where I came out? I'm in the same hole. Like I said, I'm only ever going to use 2 holes. So now I want to get started to do the next button. I'm going to go back down. You see? You see, you see? So there's a little line there, there's a little line there, and there's the 2 lines connecting it. And the back. Let's do another one. Okay, now this one only has 2 holes. Doesn't matter, that's all I need is 2 holes. I'm going to go up from the back. Okay, back. And now I'm going to go down into that hole. So it's like a little loop. And I find it easier to pick it up and hold the thread out of the way so I can get back down into that hole without too much trouble. Okay, and always pull the thread up. Away from you. Okay. Wiggle it around a little till you get it where it's in the right spot. It's not too far apart and it's not on top of each other. Hope I didn't go off shot just now. So now I put my finger back there to hold both buttons. I have my thumb here. I go around. And so this is what I was saying. I don't always grab the end. I go around and I just grab this loop and I push it underneath and pull it. Okay. And now once I've gotten it around, now watch, sometimes it'll slip right off the button. Be careful that it doesn't do that. Now that I've got it around, I'm just going to pull it to the back. Flip it over. I always like to double check to make sure this isn't twisted. And just tighten it up. Okay. And now what next? Go back up and through the button to get back to the front. Oops, I almost dumped my coffee. See? And you're just going to keep doing that. So you could rewind this video and watch it again and again. So back down to the back to get started again. That's our starting position right there. Or I could show you one more. I'll do it one more time. Here's a button right here. Okay. Up from the back. Down into the previous button. And I do find that I have to, and I've got my finger back here holding on to that thread so it doesn't get in my way. I do find I have to keep waxing the end of this every couple of times. So I keep the wax handy. So now I'm just making sure everything is nice and taut. Put my finger there. I'm holding the thread. My thumb is here. Wrap it around. You see, I actually use these fingers too to keep the loop bigger so it's easier to get under there. See that? All right, I'm gonna flop around now because you're watching me. Okay? Don't make the mistake of pulling this to the front. Pull it to the back. All right. Now let's flip it over. You don't need a surface to do this. I did this in my lap last night and the night before. Okay. And experiment with different threads. I'm going to try wax linen next, I think. And down And now we're ready for the next button. So now let me show you how to add a new piece of thread. So finish the whole loop by going back down to the back, right? You're ready to add another button or add a piece of thread. So just turn it over. This is the wrong side of the buttons, and I've just got a little tiny piece of thread here that I'm going to show you what I've done, and maybe you'll come up with a better idea. So I'm just holding the two threads together, and I'm going to do an overhand knot. And if you have an awl, or if you're really good with your fingers, you can just push the knot down so that it is right up against the button, the back of the button. Just like that. And now there's your new thread. Okay, and then I would just trim this. I think I'm just going to trim this off and maybe put a little dot of glue on there. You know, once it's hanging on whatever it's hanging, you're never going to see any of this. And just keep going. And then when you get to the very end, you know, of your piece, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to tie a knot in the back of the button. Unless you want to make a tassel or something, you could certainly do that, but I'm just going to keep it simple, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to sidebar for a second because you know I love to do that. This button garland got started because I was, you know, planning on making an Advent garland this year. I mentioned it in my Yaya a couple weeks ago that I did. So I mentioned I was going to use some twisted cord. Well, I made this a while ago, and I never used it for anything, and I love it. You see how it's got all these little schnivvies sticking out? These are not just the ends of each strip. I actually, as I was going along making this garland, I stuck a little tiny piece of muslin in there because I wanted to have all these little ratty pieces. So that's just like a thought. I did have this for sale in my shop for a while, and then I took it out because I wanted to use it. But I just love it. So I'm torn between this and the buttons now for my Advent garland. And I did make a decision on what I was going to put on said garland. I'll just stick that over there. I was talking to one of my community in the messages in the comment section, and we started talking about hearts. And I have a heart for hearts. I love them. They have a really special meaning to me. I have one tattooed on my chest. It's actually a broken heart. That was another sidebar. But I decided to put hearts on my garland. So whether I use this or both, I don't know. But what my plan is to make all different hearts, okay, for the Advent garland. And I thought, you know, I would share with you how I make each heart in a little video, because I am going to start making my videos again in January on a regular basis. So this one, there's already a video for this one, and I'll put the link up in the corner of this video so you can see it. But I wanted to tell you that Brian made some kits. He's gotten really good at doing the punches and selecting the colors and whatnot. He made a bunch of kits for these hearts. And so you can buy, it has everything in there. It has the rat tail and it has the backing. It doesn't have the thread to stitch it with and the needle. But he did do that if you're interested. And he also cut out a lot of shapes. We punch them. We have a machine. I'm going to take a video of him at some point when he's not looking. He says he doesn't like to be on camera, but I don't know. Anyway, we've got a lot of different shapes, and we're going to keep making different wool shapes because I have all these projects going on in my head, and that was a huge, long sidebar. But anyway, I wanted to let you know that I am going to be making a bunch more hearts, and they're all going to be different, and I'm going to put them on my Advent garland for next year. But it's something I'm going to work on now. So I'll be on the lookout for inspiration on how many different types of hearts I can make. All right, that's it. I think that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed seeing the button garland. I hope you'll give it a try. Everybody has a bin of buttons. And if you don't, I know where you can get some. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope everybody has great holidays. I'm not 100% sure if I'll see you before Christmas, but I am going to start up my videos again in January. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I just want to say one last thing. Don't forget to keep moving. Just play, no rules. And remember to find something to be grateful for each and every day. I'm always grateful for you. I am grateful for my home. And I am grateful for the fact that the winter's coming. And I have so many ideas and plans of things I want to do. All right. Bye for now.